YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to talk about how to choose the right marketing channel to find higher ticket land deals. So, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Levi. I am co-owner of MMC Land. We buy and sell vacant land parcels from lower ticket flips all the way up to high ticket flips. So last year we did about 30 land deals. So what I'm sharing isn't a theory, it's what I actually implement in my own business. So when people talk about land investing, usually you hear advice like hit sellers everywhere in every way possible for marketing. And usually that pertains to mail, cold calling, and texting. Those are the main three channels that people use. And the truth is that sometimes that can work, especially when I'm doing lower ticket land, where I'm doing things like subdivide sniping, where I have very low lists of leads. That's actually usually when I encourage to use every channel. Because again, you don't have many leads, you're working very targeted lists, and as a beginner, you do all of those things except for mail manually and for free, right? Cold calling is free, texting is free, and then mail, it's expensive, so we do that last, right? So for low ticket land with very limited leads, this multi-channel outreach approach makes a lot of sense, and you also have low competition, so you don't need to be that good to get deals. But when you are moving into higher ticket land deals, the strategy flips completely. Now you're dealing with a lot more competition, you're dealing with more sophisticated investors, and you have sellers who are being contacted constantly. In this environment, trying to do everything actually hurts you. For higher ticket land, the goal is to not be everywhere all at once. The goal is to pick one marketing channel so that way you can master it. So in this video, I'm going to break down direct mail, cold calling, and cold texting and help you decide which single channel makes the most sense for you to get started in. Let's talk about the core difference between low and high ticket land. So with low ticket in your very targeted lists, a lot of the time it's a volume game. You have less competition. You need to reach out to these people in multiple different ways. Now with higher ticket deals, it is more of a mastery game. With higher ticket land deals, you have usually plenty of leads. You can recycle these lists frequently, and at the same time, multiple investors are going to be hitting the same sellers as you. So the edge that you get doesn't come from more marketing, it comes from executing one channel better than everyone else so you can stand out. And that's the approach you should be taking when choosing your marketing channel. So let's talk about channel number one, direct mail. So I want to start here because when mail is done correctly, I think that mail is still king for higher ticket land. And why mail works so well? It works because it is professional, it's very intentional, and it signals that you are a serious buyer. On top of that, it has a very high barrier of entry. Anyone can go and send a letter, right? But you can't send letters at scale. And when you are sending these types of letters, people know that you are sending it to a lot of different people. So they know that you can't just, send a lot of mail if you don't have money. And usually companies have money, which is a good sign, right? Because they can pay you well for your land. And so for higher value landowners, a physical letter carries a lot of weight. And mail tends to work best when you're targeting very expensive parcels, long-time owners, and typically long-term owners are part of the older demographic. It also feels the less scammy. So with that being said, when mail is done correctly, nothing beats it for credibility. And really the only downside of mail is time. Mail is not very instant. It can take up to a full year to see the full effect of a mail campaign, especially with blind offers. Sometimes people take your mail, they throw it on the fridge, they don't call you back for a year later. And there is one more downside, but it's not as big as the time factor. Next one would be research intensity. So depending on what type of offer you're using, whether it be neutral, hybrid offers, or blind offers, if you're going to do blind offers, you need pretty accurate pricing. And so that can just take a little bit of time to do some research. Now, what makes up for that is the fact that you have a lot of time in between mailing campaigns going out. And if you have a call center taking your inbound calls, you have a lot of spare time to do all that market research. So it's not going to be a super big deal. Now, mail, again, requires patience and precision. And if you rush it or do it improperly, it will punish you with the high upfront costs. So let's get into channel number 2. Channel number 2 is cold calling. Cold calling gives you the fastest feedback loop, but it has a cost, right? So cold calling works because you get immediate responses. Obviously, people are going to tell you they want to sell or you don't, and you hear it on the phone. You can build trust live and very quickly, depending on how good you are, and you can handle objections in real time. It's harder to ghost someone on a letter than it is on the phone because you can handle those objections since you're actively speaking with them. Now for higher ticket land, guys, conversations really matter here. Sellers usually have emotional attachment compared to land that's not very valuable. They want explanations for why you want it, and they want reassurance that they're not getting ripped off. And a single 10-minute phone call can accomplish that, while weeks of mail and months of following up on a nurture system, on cold texting, they just can't handle that, right? And so the only real downside of cold calling here isn't the cost itself, but it's your cost of time. Cold calling is extremely time consuming, and scaling that can become a problem. For higher ticket land, heavy accents kill trust immediately, and poor communication will kill deals. So that means you spend a lot of time recruiting for people that are either American, which can be expensive, or don't have accents, or people who don't have accents overseas, right? But those guys are a little bit more expensive as well. And again, cold calling works, but it takes so much time, or it takes a lot of money hiring those people that can handle it for you. I think your best bet here is to not have an in-house cold call team and to hire a cold calling service. So with that all being said, guys, I think cold calling, in my opinion, shouldn't be a main channel unless you literally have no money and you need to start yourself. I think it is the best supplement channel though, right? Channel 3, which is cold texting. Texting can be your main channel, and there's a lot of reasons why people gravitate towards it. It's very practical, right? It works because it's scalable, it's fast, it's low friction, and a major advantage is that it's usually the cheapest channel, especially if you're hiring, because cold callers, it's going to be more expensive. You also have to manage call quality. It takes a lot of time. You usually have to build large teams because it takes a lot of time and you can't do volume like texting. But texting lets you reach more sellers with fewer people, keep the costs of labor low, and you can scale very quickly. And so you can go find a texter on Upwork for $700 a month. And these people are only texting, so they don't need to be on the phone. They don't need to have the best English. Their accents don't really matter because it's not them that's going to be on the phone. They're strictly texting with one goal in mind: to get you on the phone, right? And so a lot of deals, realistic expectation is like a deal every 25,000 texts, right? Give or take, depending on how good you are. Now, the real downside of texting is that it looks simple, but it's not. It requires a ton of data, and at scale, you might be pulling 50,000 records plus per month. And then, of course, this is across multiple states as well. And so this can cause serious problems if you are not equipped, and you definitely need to start managing a team when you have those types of volume. Now, guys, let's just pretend you're sending out 25,000 texts a month. You've been doing this for 2 months. You're going to quickly get forgetful with what you just texted the first 2 months ago, right? You go through a lot of data. And so it's also can be difficult if you don't have the right systems in place to keep your lists clean, to go rescrub your lists on follow-up campaigns. So without strong systems, texting turns into chaos very quickly. And second, this is the biggest one in my opinion. Texting is a little bit in the gray area, so there is a little bit of risk there, and people do get sued. And I'm not an attorney, and I'm not giving you guys legal advice, but if texting is going to be your main channel and you get leads from just skip tracing, you definitely should speak with an attorney that understands TCPA regulations, any state-specific rules that you're going to be texting in, and compliance requirements. So that way you have the best chance of not getting sued. I also highly, highly recommend not going after people that are on the do not call list or people that have been litigators in the past, because you are just asking to get sued. So texting can be very powerful, but only if you're organized and compliant, guys. That's the most important thing with texting. Now, we went over some pros and cons of all of the channels. Now let's talk about the real decision. So this is where a lot of people mess up. They try to do all of them at once. It's hard to synergize all of these channels together, and it can work really well for low ticket land, but it fails when you go into higher ticket land deals. So high ticket land requires, again, focus, repetition, and consistency, so that way you can master what you're going to be doing. So ask yourself, which one channel do I think I can execute better than most investors in my market? And whatever your guys' answer to that is, when you ask yourself that question, choose that and master it first. Only then, when you fully maximize one channel, should you even think about adding another. And so just to wrap everything up with a few common mistakes I see, no matter what channel you go in, it's going to have a couple mistakes in all of them. So hopefully you don't make the same mistakes. So the first one, it's going to be treating higher ticket deals like lower ticket deals. We touched on this, but essentially not going and mastering a channel, just trying to do marketing everywhere. It's not going to work well. But for mail specifically, underestimating mail timelines. Guys, if you go to a mail service, you submit a list and you want to get it mailed, it takes a long time for it to even get to a seller, let alone have these people call you back. It takes a long time. So if you're expecting to get rich quick with mail in a month, it's not going to happen, right? So the timeline is pushed out for longer. You need to have more willpower and be able to delay your gratification there. But on top of that, doing blind offers without deep pricing knowledge. Guys, if you are doing blind offers and you're not really researching the area well, you are going to run into a huge problem and you are going to burn money very quickly. For cold calling, the biggest mistake here is hiring cheap callers that have very strong accents that will kill trust immediately. If you guys are going to be cold calling or building an in-house team, you guys need to hire good people. Okay. Now, texting without enough data, organization, or systems in place with compliance planning on top of that is going to run you into the ground and you can get sued. You are going to completely just get headaches because you have no idea what's going on in your business, and it's going to be a horrible time. And finally, this goes for all of them, but choosing a channel based on comfort instead of strategy. If you guys only have a couple hours a day, because maybe you work a W-2 job to do this business, maybe go into blind offers, right? Because you can have an inbound call service take all of the calls, and all you need to do pretty much every day is just do market research, right? And then everything else is done for you at that point. Then you just call and make your offers once people call in. So you got to have some strategy with what you're going to do. Like if you have more time, maybe texting is not a bad option. If you have no money to do mail or texting, maybe just cold call. Okay. So the final takeaway here, if you learn anything from this video, let it be this: low ticket land rewards being active and trying to make the most of your leads, while higher ticket land deals reward mastering one channel. Okay. So just pick one channel and commit to becoming elite at it before adding anything else. If you guys want to go deeper into the topic or into anything else in the land business, you guys can ask me any questions you want on Instagram. I answer all my DMs, so feel free. I also have my school community you can check out. Link is in the YouTube description. Finally, if you guys liked the video, leave a like on the video, comment, or again, DM me if you have any questions, and subscribe if you want more tips that I actually implement into my business, land software reviews, and real case studies. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.